Top 10 interesting things about Goku's Ultra Instinct form. It's pretty crazy that even characters in the Dragon Ball universe don't really understand what this is, so let's break this down. Number 10. Ultra Instinct is not a Saiyan state. That means that anyone can theoretically obtain this state. This opens the door for many things, like, for instance, Goku, Vegeta, if Vegeta obviously masters this. It opens the door for things like them stacking a Super Saiyan Blue transformation on top of this Ultra Instinct form. It opens the door to other races achieving this state, and it could very well be that this Saiyan that we all love, Goku's most powerful technique, is a technique that's not one of his own. It's just a technique that one of his kind has mastered. Number 9. This form acts as some sort of natural Zenkai boost. We all know how the Saiyans have this genetical trait to where they grow combat-wise when they fight and they take injury. So when they take damage and they basically recover from that damage, they actually get stronger and stronger. This is a genetic trait of the Saiyans. For some reason, this state/transformation acts as some sort of natural Zenkai boost, totally separate from the Saiyan's genetical trait. So it was noted by Piccolo, and obviously Gohan was watching right beside him, it was noted that every single time Goku blocks Jiren's hits, he hits Jiren more quickly, more sharply, and more heavily. Could we now assume that Goku is actually regenerating in a way and recovering in a way as he's fighting in this transformation? Well, one can only assume, right? If you want to compare this 100% to the Zenkai boost, the genetical Saiyan trait, obviously. However, this could simply be the growth without the recovery, meaning in this state, Goku just exponentially gets stronger. He does not need to recover from any sort of injury or blow he receives. The concept behind this very transformation could indeed explain away the power gap that other characters such as Jiren or the Gods of Destructions or possibly even the Grand Priest have over characters or mortals like Goku, in the sense that maybe as you reach a certain state, like this Ultra Instinct state, maybe you just exponentially get stronger and stronger and stronger, which would explain why there's such a big gap in power between Goku and Jiren. It's not that Jiren has been alive so much more longer and has trained so much more longer and vigorously. It's that once he achieves some kind of a trait, he was able to exponentially grow so strong and obviously make that gap wider, wider, wider. Number 8. All of Goku's energy had to be depleted in order for him to achieve this state, meaning that there are certain circumstances that had to have come about for Goku to have reached this Ultra Instinct state. He can't just tap into this power whenever he wants. The Spirit Bomb acted as the fuel, as the energy for that empty, clean slate. But Goku had to become absolutely empty. This state was almost reached out of luck. It was stated by Whis that in this big grand explosion, obviously in the tug-of-war between Goku and Jiren when it came to the Spirit Bomb, the raging power of the Spirit Bomb that entered Goku-san, and Goku-san's own power to resist it, beyond that clash of power, Goku-san broke through the shell to the deeper potential within himself. The important part to note is that this shell cannot be broken from what we've seen unless he exhausts all of his energy. He can't just go Super Saiyan God or Super Saiyan Blue and then activate this transformation. This pretty much confirms the fact that if Goku is going to go this state, and he wants to basically use Saiyan energy on top of that, he's going to have to achieve this state first, before stacking the God Ki on top of that. Goku tapping into God Ki disturbs him, ultimately. He has to control it vigorously, this Ki, in order to maintain the Super Saiyan Blue state, which goes against this nothingness, this empty shell, or this shell being broken, which allows Goku to basically be in tune with the universe and basically fight without any thought. For some reason, this Spirit Bomb was compatible with this nothingness, with this shell, and it was able to give Goku the power that he needed. But we still don't really know why. And that's exactly what I'm trying to say with number 8, is that Goku's body was entirely depleted of energy. but yet the Spirit Bomb acted as power. We don't know why, but that's something I'm sure we'll figure out soon. Number 7, not even a god can easily attain this state. We know that the first known user of this ability is Whis. We do see Beerus in chapter 28 of the Dragon Ball Super manga utilizing this Ultra Instinct form against the other Gods of Destructions, which allows him to basically handle multiple Gods of Destructions at the same time. But eventually Moscow gets him because the technique was not mastered fully. Beerus himself struggles with this technique, according to the manga. Now, we haven't really seen Beerus use this in the anime, and we know the anime and the manga, they have enough differences, right? But that shows you just how difficult this technique is to use, how seldom we're probably going to see it with Goku, at the very least after the Tournament of Power. There's something that tells me that, yeah, you could get hype over the Super Saiyan God or Super Saiyan Blue transformation, and those are God powers. But these are almost it's just a next level of God power. In fact, it's most likely angelic power, and we're going to hit that point in a second. And don't get it mixed up, just because you saw Goku using Ultra Instinct kicking some ass, and maybe he even compares to Beerus, I still believe Beerus and some of the other Gods of Destructions, as well as other deities, of course, they've probably mastered this a lot more than Goku. It's just that Goku, for some reason, was, unexplainably able to use this power. Number 6, Goku can rival the gods in this state. If Goku and Jiren are fighting on par with each other, until, of course, Jiren just blows him out because Goku runs out of power, and Jiren is, of course, confirmed to be that mortal that's stronger than even a God of Destruction, and that statement is still not 100% clarified because we don't know if they're talking about every single God of Destruction or just one God of Destruction, right? Like maybe the Universe 11 God of Destruction. Not all Gods of Destructions are equal in power. But listen, it could very well be that Jiren is more powerful than every single God, and the Universe 11 God does stand out as one of the strongest, right? Well, if those two were fighting at the level that they were fighting at, you best believe that these two, while they were fighting, could match and rival, yes, the Gods of Destructions. Goku in this fight is confirmed to be on Beerus' level, which is insane. Doesn't mean that he's going to consistently be on Beerus' level, at the very least not for a while, but at that moment, when he was striking Jiren, getting stronger and stronger, landing heavier hits after every block, yes, he could have probably put up a fight against Beerus and maybe even taken that man's out. Although, if I have to be honest with you, Jiren could beat Beerus in a fight. Number 5, this state may be innate to angels. What could have shocked the Grand Priest, because people will now bring up, well, why didn't the Grand Priest understand what was going on? Why was the Grand Priest shocked? Why were the other angels trying to, figure out what was going on? Whis himself spent a minute just watching Goku and trying to piece things together. Well, what could have been the case is that this state is simply innate to the angels, and they don't really 100% understand the process that the mortals have to go through in order to achieve either this same state or some sort of watered-down version of this state. For instance, Goku can use the Hawkeye, but it's not Beerus' Hawkeye. It's a less potent version of that technique. Take Naruto, for example, right? Take the Tail Beast Ball. Well, what developed as a result of the Tail Beast Ball? The Rasengan. If a Tail Beast sees a Rasengan for the first time, he might not understand what's going on, because in his mouth, he can just naturally, innately, I don't know if that's a word, but he can create a Tail Beast Ball / bomb without thinking. What could have shocked the Grand Priest was just how it was obtained, what version of this Ultra Instinct form was obtained. What is this exactly? It looks somewhat familiar. It could very well be that only the angels can achieve the perfect Ultra Instinct, the one that's innate, the one that you don't have to think at all, and the second you wake up, you're in that state. Whereas the mortals, they actually have to go through some kind of training / meditating. Every single other race outside of the angels can achieve some version of this Ultra Instinct form, but it's still inferior. It's still not the same thing, and it's not constant all the time. Number 4, this goes without saying, but as much as I love this transformation, the explanation behind the transformation could still be weak. yes, they could still ruin this, right? Because we didn't get one yet, and that kind of scares me. Big giant orb that Goku absorbed accidentally, and now he has this incredible power that was briefly touched upon at the beginning of Dragon Ball Super, when Whis basically told Goku that he's an idiot and Vegeta that he thinks too much, and that's the problem with those two. They have to find that balance in order to master their body, mastery of self, movement, or ultra instinct. If they don't explain this away correctly, they could have a hard time bringing this back as something Goku can constantly use, and if he does constantly use this with that weak explanation, I think this could end up being something bad. Right, so they really gotta tread slowly and explain this away properly because it's still very, very early. 3. Goku might not be able to draw on this whenever he wants, and they might even make it conditional to where a Spirit Bomb might have to be involved. I mean, otherwise, why else was the Spirit Bomb so compatible and allowed Goku, being this clean slate, to have this Ultra Instinct state? I'll say this again, but this isn't a Saiyan transformation, this is an angelic one. So for Goku to master himself that well in order to use something that even the gods have a hard time using, it's going to take a lot, and I mean a lot, of training. So we might not see this form again after the Tournament of Power for a couple of arcs, or we might not even see it again until the end of the series. Something of that sort. We might see like a weaker version of that state, where his eyes don't change, where the aura isn't all over the place, and he's just in base form. Like I said again, he might not be able to draw on this level of power whenever he wants, or even at all. Number 2, if Goku masters this state, that could render all of the transformations Goku has achieved up until this point almost useless. And I don't mean useless in the sense that, okay, Goku can't, draw upon that power to kick the ass of the majority of the characters in the series. I mean, they won't advertise it as much because Goku can go into this more powerful state, so why waste his time, especially if there aren't these conditional rules like you have in the Tournament of Power. How often do we see Goku in his yellow-haired form outside of the Tournament of Power? Not very often. How often do we see Super Saiyan God, the red-haired form? Not very often. You notice every single time Goku progresses, he basically uses his strongest transformation the most, right? I mean, people have been complaining time and time again about how much Super Saiyan Blue's been spammed to the point to where people feel like it's a weak transformation now. Even though I have to disagree with that because there's such a big range in power within the Super Saiyan Blue transformation, right? I mean, there's different Super Saiyan Blues. Not all Super Saiyan Blues are equal. I think that goes without saying when Goku stacks X20 Kaioken on top of the Super Saiyan Blue, of course. Number 1. Vegeta might not be able to enter this state. Like, guys, okay, yes, I think it's a possibility that Vegeta will be able to enter this state because then that would be just so messed up. And guys, I mean, I am a Vegeta fanboy, so I want Vegeta to get as much power as possible, and I've made plenty of videos about how they're doing Vegeta justice in the manga, but not so in the anime, to where Goku's pulling out moves like swapping between God and Blue in the anime, stuff that Vegeta actually mastered in the manga before Goku, but yet he hasn't been able to use it in the anime, which is ridiculous. Well, when Goku and Vegeta were training with Whis, remember what was told to both of them. Goku doesn't think at all, right? Which is actually better for this state, and Vegeta overthinks. So it might just be that, yes, of course, this isn't a sane state, but some people are just naturally able to achieve this state, and others are not. At the very least on this specific level. So it could very well be that, and I hate to say it, Vegeta will never master this state, this Ultra Instinct state, at the very least to this extent. And that actually sucks, I'm going to be honest with you. So with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Ultra Instinct Goku, here we go. And is there something that I missed? Leave it in the comment section below. I'm very curious to hear your guys' thoughts on this state. And we got a debate because ultimately there is so much to talk about. There still is so much to explain, and they haven't really done the best job of doing so yet.